right, let's just go over some background a second, and I'm just remembering some notes, and you need to fill me in.
Sure.
If we can. So from a teaching point of view, we can fill the audience in, but our main goal here is to assist you in what you're doing. Okay, you had, was it your father that was very authoritarian? What was the right term for your father?
He was an engineer.
Engineer. Oh, you waited. You saved that, didn't you?
Oh, he was
very critical or something.
Very critical.
Yeah.
And very shaming. I think we've talked about it a lot today. Is in different words. I mean, being embarrassed, being shamed, being overly self-critical. You know, all those things I have.
All of which underlie a self-image, by the way.
Yes. Yes.
Parenthetically.
Yes. So the derivation sometimes is I've worked in the talk therapy for years on that, and I'm not 100% clear,
okay,
but I know the results.
So everybody's clear about the term talk therapy. That means you would see a psychotherapist,
sure.
and the major technique was to talk you through it and have you relive
right.
things and so on.
Right.
Okay, great, all right.
And what I do know is that the results of that are that when I'm going forth and working, and if I don't do things exactly perfect, or I'm critical in a way that I criticize myself because I don't think it's perfect, then I feel badly about that, and it inhibits me from continuing to work, or it slows me down.
Are you worried about screwing up here?
No.
You should. How did it feel when I said that?
That doesn't bother me.
Okay. You have an issue that bothers you, though. It's one I talked to you about on the phone. I mentioned it to you. Can we talk about that one?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's funny because I don't know exactly when they come up, but they come up.
Okay. But this one is pretty easy to get to, is it not?
Yeah.
Okay. And your wife left you?
My first wife, yeah.
Okay. Now, how do you feel when I said that and when you responded on a scale of 0 to 10?
I guess it's about a 4. I guess a lot of those issues are not as potent as they were. But there's getting.
Was it because you weren't good enough?
That's how I felt at the time.
Okay. When I said that, the number 4 changed?
Yeah, probably a little bit.
Were you good enough?
Yes.
You were good enough?
Yeah.
You know that logically or emotionally?
Logically.
Logically,
yeah.
Okay. Well, apparently you weren't, or she wouldn't have left.
Yeah.
Give me a number about, I know we're laughing, but give me a number about how you feel. I'm testing a little bit.
Sure,
okay?
I know. And I guess it's up to a 7. Pretty soon it's going to be anger. I'm going to deck you. I mean,
Thank you for being on it. And that's true. So you got to watch out what you're doing here. Yeah, that's right. You see, and what I really want to do here is to have this whole thing go off with minimal pain. But I'm trying to do 2 things here. I didn't have to goad him at all on this, but I know he's goadable at least because we did a little bit in the past, and he's probably not going to hit me. Okay. I did it so that he could get a sense of how easily he can get to a 7. Okay. And for the contrast, which I'm hoping to have happen after we've done all of this. Okay, and for you to get some sense of it too. If he starts at a 3 or a 4 and gets to a 0, it's kind of like, well, that's nice, But a 7 to a 0 is a little more like it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if we could put a phrase around all of that encapsulates the whole thing about your first wife leaving you, what would that phrase be?
Oh, there's so many things around that.
Well, we're going to zero in on one little specific tree.
Okay. Anger and betrayal is probably the biggest.
Okay, you felt betrayed?
Yes.
Okay. Now, is that a feeling about yourself, or is that a feeling of anger towards her?
It was towards her.
Towards her.
Yeah.
I'd like to get into a feeling. Well, we can do either one. Would it be more? I'll ask you. It's your intuition. Would it be more helpful for you if we were only to deal with one that is a feeling about yourself, or one about anger towards her?
Oh, it's always easier to get about anger towards her.
Well, we'll deal with that one first, okay? If we have time for the other, we will. Okay. Sure, that's the chicken way out, right?
Sure.
Of course. But your anger towards her. I mean, she betrayed you. What did she do?
She left.
She leave you a note? Say, sorry, Jason,
Um,
I'm out of here.
No, I guess what really makes me angry, she had a restraining order against me and I couldn't see my child. That just.
And when you say that, 0 to 10, give me the number.
It's 9 or 10.
Okay. All right. Even though I couldn't see my child,
Even though I couldn't see my
I
child.
deeply and completely accept myself.
I deeply and completely accept
Even though I
myself.
couldn't see my child,
Even though I couldn't see my child.
I deeply
and completely accept myself. Even though I couldn't see my child, I deeply and completely accept
Okay,
myself.
glasses on. Okay. Couldn't see my child.
Couldn't see my child.
Couldn't see my child.
Couldn't see my child. Couldn't see my child. Couldn't see my child. Couldn't see my child. Couldn't see my child. Couldn't see my child.
Okay, well, I'm going to take a test now. It's, reading. Are you still? Was it a 9?
Yeah, it was 9.
Okay, was 9. Is it not still a 9?
No, I could feel it. It's 5.
It's a 5.
Yeah.
Okay. Gamut spot. Close your eyes. Open your eyes. Hard down right. Hard down left. Roll them in a circle. Other way. Happy birthday.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay. Couldn't see my child.
Couldn't see my child. Couldn't see my child. Couldn't see my child. Couldn't see my child. Couldn't see my child. Couldn't see my child. Couldn't see my child.
A restraining order. Is that right?
Yes.
They came along and said, Jason, here's a restraining order, and it says, what were the words?
I don't know. I was in the Army at the time, so I was just told through my chain of command that I couldn't go home, and then I found out later the reason was that she was having an affair.
As you speak about it now, not about the affair, but as you speak about not being able to see your child, are you still a 5?
Yeah.
Okay. Is there some other piece of that, some other aspect of that coming up that wasn't there to begin with? Are you seeing it differently? Are you looking at a different scene?
Obviously, the affair is a different thing. But
Okay, but I asked you about your intensity about not being able to see your child. I don't
Yeah,
care about the affair.
right.
Is that still a 5? See, I couldn't see my child.
No, it's not a 5.
Okay, understand what happens here. We're constantly doing. Remember I talked to you yesterday about headache, toothache, stomach ache, and we take care of one, and you tend to focus on the other. That's what happened here. Okay, so what we did was we took the one issue and we've dropped it from a 9 to a 5 to a whatever a new number is. I don't want to put words in your mouth. Did I say it right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
But now we brought up the affair, which is a whole different thing.
Yes.
And you were giving that a 5, weren't you? A minute
Yes.
ago.
Yes.
Am I accurate?
Yes.
Okay. You will do that to yourself as you do your own tapping. If you're helping somebody else with it, they will do it on you frequently. I mean, they'll just do it all over the place. They'll always shift from this, that, and the other thing. Because what's happening is their headache goes away and they're focusing on their toothache. And they still don't feel good, but they don't recognize, since these things are emotional, that they have labels like headache and toothache. Okay, headache and toothache are pretty easy to disseminate, but when you're talking about emotion, it just kind of shifts back and forth. Okay. See, I couldn't see my child. And tell me what number that gets to.
About a 2.
About a 2.
Yeah.
Tap right here. Okay. Eyes down to the floor. Hard down to the right. All the way down. Okay, then 6 seconds. Remember, you couldn't see your child. See, I can't see my child. Hard up to the ceiling. Okay. All right, stop. See, I couldn't see my child.
I couldn't see my child.
What's your child's name?
Heather.
I couldn't see Heather.
Couldn't see Heather.
How's that feel? Is that a 0?
Maybe 1 or 2.
Maybe 1 or 2. Okay. Eyes down to the floor. And raise them to the ceiling and say, I couldn't see Heather as you do that.
I couldn't see Heather. I couldn't see Heather. I couldn't see Heather. I couldn't see Heather. I couldn't see Heather.
Okay, stop there. See, I couldn't see Heather.
I couldn't see Heather.
Is it still a 1 or 2?
Yeah. I can actually feel other things coming in now. It's like it's
Feel what coming in?
just the feelings I had about my wife, and
Well, now this is your wife.
I know.
You want to shift them. You want to get on to bigger and better things.
I do.
Okay, yeah, I know. But
I can feel that, and it's interesting because I can actually feel that happening.
Okay.
The
Well, we
idea-
have a little time left. I'm going to leave the other one at a 2, but you know what to do about that, because even though I still have some of this, and you can take care of it and bring it to a 0. I would bring it to a 0, okay? So your wife left you? She had an affair? Say my wife had an affair.
My wife had an affair.
0 to 10, give me a number.
Oh, 5,
She betrayed me.
6.
Say she betrayed me.
She betrayed me.
Okay, now I want to zero in on a specific thing about this, okay? Was there you got the notice somehow, you were told somehow. What piece of that is the most intense for you about that whole scene?
What piece of that? The anger? Is that what you're asking?
I want to see. What I want to do is I want to be very specific here.
Yes.
I'm going to look at a very specific tree because if we're looking at a very specific tree, that way you're not going to jump from tree to tree like a monkey on me. Okay.
Right.
Okay. So that's why I want to be specific.
Okay.
So I want to know about some specific thing about that gives you to the 7 or whatever it was, 7, whatever it was.
Yeah. It always centers around not being able to see Heather. That's the.
Well, now wait a minute. Now you went back to the first one.
Yes,
I want to
okay.
talk about. I'm talking about the affair now. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Okay. That's in the interest of time. In the interest of time, even though, can we use your wife's first name?
Deb.
Yeah. Even though Deb betrayed me,
Even though Deb betrayed me,
I deeply and completely accept myself.
I deeply and completely accept myself. Even though Deb betrayed me, I deeply and completely accept myself.
Even though she cheated on me big time.
Even though she cheated on me big time, I deeply and completely accept myself.
Even though it just wiped out everything that I had.
Even though it wiped out
Emotionally.
everything I had emotionally, I deeply and completely accept myself.
Okay. The affair. The betrayal.
The betrayal.
The betrayal.
The betrayal.
Under your eye. Betrayal.
The betrayal.
Nose.
The betrayal.
Chin. Keep
The
going.
betrayal. The betrayal. The betrayal.
Okay. Say Deb betrayed me.
Deb betrayed me.
Is that a 7?
No, it's a 3.
It's a 3.
Yeah.
Okay. Even though I still have some of this Deb betrayal problem.
Even though I still have some of this Deb betrayal problem, I deeply and profoundly accept myself. Even though I still have some of this Deb betrayal problem, I deeply and profoundly accept myself. Even though I still have some of this Deb betrayal problem, I deeply and profoundly accept myself.
Remaining Deb betrayal problem.
Remaining Deb betrayal problem.
Actually, you need to be a little more accurate. It's right about there. Okay.
Remaining Deb betrayal problem.
Okay.
Remaining Deb betrayal problem. 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 Remaining Deb betrayal problem.
Say Deb betrayed me.
Deb betrayed me.
I wasn't good enough to keep her.
I wasn't good enough to keep her.
Are you 3?
No. No, I'm a 1, maybe a 0.
1 or a 0?
Yeah. I'm
Okay,
feeling hungry.
interesting. Feeling hungry.
Think of what time it is. I want to go. I want to go to lunch.
All right. Now here's yeah, but let me ask you to be congruent about this. Do you want to go to lunch because you're getting a little uncomfortable up here, or you really are past it, or?
I mean, my wife betrayed me. I was angry about that, but I'm hungry.
All right, do you hear the difference? Now, a really important thing about this is that maybe somebody will remind me, because I have a lot of people that I'm dealing with here, tomorrow, later on today, sometime, ask me to test this with you. Some time will go by, I'll test it with you, and I can get to the point where you can almost hit me, okay? But we'll test it and see how well it holds. We'll see if some other aspect comes up or whatever. But chances are, when we get it down to this, that specific aspect of it, that tree is cut down. Start cutting down other trees in the related forest, and after a few trees are cut down, the rest of them start to fall. You're having a harder and harder time finding them, okay?
If I work with self-esteem, for instance, is this because it's such a wide umbrella?
Yes.
Is it better to pick a tree by tree if I know them,
Yeah.
or is it better to just do the whole umbrella?
Yeah, you will see after lunch, I'm going to talk about this thing back here. And the first step you do in this whole process of doing the process is you identify the problem, and I say be specific where possible. So you've just touched on that. If you are aware of a fear of rejection, let's say, from once upon a time, and you like to get rid of that. So you deal with that. But if you're aware of this, that, or the other thing, fine. And you keep dealing with the specifics. But there'll be a time you just won't know what it is. There's lots of things kicking around that have happened years ago that are still, dancing around in our psyches, in our subconscious mind. But you will know because you just don't feel quite right. So you just deal with that. Even though I have this self-image feeling, even though I have this whatever you want to name it, you'll just have to keep being specific with it, or keep being persistent with it. And after a while, the trees start to fall. But believe me, I have to say this again, it's very subtle, which, by the way, is very powerful. You will begin speaking about things different than you had before. You won't even notice it.
Be specific when possible.
But be specific when possible. Yeah, you'll do it faster. The reason for it, you'll do it faster, and you'll notice the change. I was asking you last night, because you and I were talking about the issues we had talked about. But before I begin, I want to test something. I want you to say this for me. I couldn't see Heather. Motion?
No.
Okay. All right, good. But you said to me, because I was asking you last night, I said, well, right at the end of that, you said, well, okay, it's lunchtime and I'm hungry now. And sometimes, once in a while, people just get uncomfortable and they just kind of want to go do something else. And I was asking you about that, if that was an excuse. And you said no, but you said something else about it. You said while we were tapping, something was happening. Can you recall what that was?
Yeah, and I've been tapping for a while, and this is one of the few times I felt it. But as I got to a certain point, I actually felt the tension just kind of flow out of my body.
Yes.
And,
okay.
And I don't remember exactly which. I think it was collarbone or maybe above. But I don't remember exactly what point it was. But it just, I knew I was there before I even got to the end.
Yeah. Okay. Good. And that's the thing I wanted to zero in on. You can give the mic back to Dan if you want. The point I want to make here is quite often, if you will be very attentive to what's going on as you're tapping, you may notice as you tap a certain point, something happens. There's a little relaxation going on. I call that your point. That's just my name for it. It's just something that I've noticed. There's sometimes you have a certain point. With me, it's the collarbone, and you happen to hit the collarbone point yourself when you were talking about that. I will often find if I want something real quick to take care of an immediate emotion like that, just like that. I'll give you an example of this. My daughter Cindy got married a couple years ago, and I was to walk her down the aisle. In fact, I was visiting with Adrian even before this, but I was to walk her down the aisle, and I knew beforehand that she was going to be walking down there with me, all smiles and everything, and Daddy was going to be crying. And it just didn't work. Even though they're happy tears, it doesn't work to have the father of the bride crying going down the aisle, So we start to go down the aisle, and boy, I could feel the emotion coming, bum, 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 so I'm doing this, and the whole thing's filmed, of course, and they can see Daddy doing this, and it calms right down, and I get halfway down the aisle, it starts to come back, and I just very quickly do that, and it left me. It was a very big help. Instead of going, even though I have this, da-da-da-da-da, and take a whole minute, which seems like an eternity under circumstances like that, I had a real quick one. So if you'll just notice that for yourself, find it for you. It might be under your eye, it might be under your arm, it might be any one of these places. A lot of people have it for the collarbone.
When I met Gary at the seminar, I had a real problem at the moment wanting to get out and get a cigarette. And basically I use, and I'm aware of this, stuffed down anger with cigarettes. And he videotaped it and I saw it and it was like, is that really me? But he worked with me on an issue that I've had since I was 10 years old. And it was the first time my father raped me. And I couldn't tell you the sadness and the pain that every day of my life, and I didn't really realize it.
Okay, I'd like to ask you a question. I want you to finish the story, but I just want to ask you something. When you said the first time my father raped me, did you have an emotional intensity when you said that, just then?
No.
Okay, go ahead.
I mean, when I think about it, I'm thinking of the film, and that wasn't me, that was her.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Do you have emotional freedom on that specific issue?
That day, yes, that very first day I do.
Do you have emotional freedom from it now?
Yes, I do.
Okay, all right. And that was in last March?
March.
3 or 4 months ago. All right, go ahead. I'm sorry. I didn't want to interrupt you. I just wanted to make that one point, though. Go ahead.
And I was totally shocked because I've spent many years in therapy and many years being really angry. And there's still anger around that. There's a lot of things around it. But that particular day, it was like an everyday nightmare.
As I remember it, Veronica, when I called you on the phone a few days later, I asked you if that particular incident was bothersome to you continuously, or ever present. And I think you said yes, and it was around it stayed around a 7 or a 10 level all the time.
Yeah,
Did I remember that right?
yeah.
And then it went to 0, and it never doesn't come back now. That specific issue.
No, it doesn't.
Okay. There are other trees in that forest,
Yeah,
which we're
I
going
know.
to deal with, of course, as time goes on. But thank you for sharing that. I mean, that was really nice.
It was really amazing, and
Yeah. With your permission, I was going to show that about a 30-40 minute tape that we have of a variety of things, including that particular session. Is that okay with you to show tomorrow?
sure.
What I'd like to have you do tomorrow is understand what she just told you now, and how here we are months later, and this very, very intense issue for her subsided. You will see her as she was that day when you first brought it up. And all we did, 2 or 3 rounds of tapping, I think, was about it. Something like that. Sure. Maybe 3. You couldn't even talk. That's right. Yeah. Okay. Let me see. The very first time that we met, you were very open about the fact that you had raped with your father,
Right.
and it was repeated over a long period of time. Okay. And you have a lot of angry issues. A lot of these have resulted, I think, in multiple sclerosis, right?
Yes.
Okay. Do you have it now?
Yes.
And you have, if I recall correctly, Veronica, you were at one point a few years ago bedridden with it, were you not? Okay. And I see the tears. What are they about? Okay. The whole issue. Okay. Are you zeroing in on a specific issue? Okay. I'm just going to say it for you. Okay. Even though I have this anguish, you can accept yourself. You can accept yourself even though you have this anguish. You can accept yourself even though you have this anguish. This anguish is acceptable. Okay, anguish. Anguish. Okay. Anguish. 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 Any better? Is it a little better?
Yes.
Okay. Open your eyes.
I can't.
Okay. Imagine your eyes are opened. Okay. Imagine them closed. Imagine them opened. Imagine them going hard down right, unless you can put them hard down right. Hard down left. But roll them around a circle or imagine it, either way. Happy birthday. Can you do that? Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Happy birthday. Okay. Anguish. This anguish. This anguish. This anguish. You're looking better. This anguish. This anguish. This anguish. This anguish. Do you need another round? How you doing?
Thank you. Better.
Better? Okay. We show you still have some intensity though, do you not?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, okay. Jimmy, where am I going? Even though you still have some of this intensity, can you say it now?
Even though I still have
Some of this anguish left.
some of this anguish left,
I deeply and completely accept myself.
I deeply and completely accept
Even though I
myself.
still have some of this anguish left.
Even though I still have some of this anguish left, I deeply and completely accept myself.
Okay, do it again.
Even though I have some of this, still have some of this anguish left, I deeply and completely accept myself.
Okay, remaining anguish.
Remaining anguish.
Remaining anguish.
Remaining anguish.
Remaining anguish.
Remaining anguish. Remaining anguish. Remaining anguish. Remaining anguish. Remaining anguish.
Yeah, for me. Close your eyes. Open. Hard down right. Hard down left. In a circle. Other way. Happy birthday. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Happy birthday. Remaining anguish.
Remaining anguish. Remaining anguish. Remaining anguish. Remaining anguish. Remaining anguish. Remaining anguish.
How you doing now?
I thank you. I'm in control, I think.
Okay. I used the term anguish only because that was just my feel. I had no idea what was going on with you. The only thing I knew was that her energy system was massively disrupted. That's the only thing I knew. I know generally probably what the issue is or what it surrounds just because of conversation, but I really didn't know. I had no idea whatsoever. But the obvious thing was her energy system was disrupted, was it not? So when somebody said earlier, where do things come from and problems come from, et cetera, and I said, it really doesn't matter, in a way that's very true, because I had no idea what this was, but her energy system was disrupted. So we have our little trick that we do for that, okay? So I called it anguish. What label would you have given for it if you could have given me the right word?
That's probably appropriate word.
Oh, anguish, okay. Is this another rape incident that you were zeroing on, or was it a
No.
general thing?
That has not reoccurred for me.
Well, okay, just from my understanding, when we dealt that first time, I did not know it was the first rape. Now, you zeroed in on something, and you told me later on it was rape by your father. That's the only thing I knew. Okay, I didn't know it was the first one until we talked about it, some other time during this workshop. I heard you say that. For the first night, first day. Am I to understand that all the incidences of rape, as a result of having done the one tapping session we did last March, has covered over and taken care of all the rape trees?
As far as I know, it has. I mean,
Oh, okay.
it's something that deep every day of my life from, I guess, the time I was 9 and 10, I could not get rid of that feeling.
Okay.
I think a lot of the other trees are cropping up in that.
Okay. All right. Let's do this. Let's take a specific tree. Whatever it was that was getting to you, can you tell me what that was? Was there a specific that was getting to you?
Yes.
Okay. Can you tell me what it is?
Hmm.
Are you? Would you rather not? We can do it privately too, if you wish.
No, I'm okay about it now.
Okay. All right.
I think it's just generally the abandonment of three parents.
The abandonment of you by three parents.
Yeah.
The three parents being.
Well, it's kind of complicated. My mother died when I was born.
And that you.
That is one issue.
That's an abandonment issue.
It's an abandonment and a guilt.
She died when you were born, so you feel abandoned as a result, and you feel guilt like you caused it.
Right.
Okay. And how did you cause it?
Intellectually, I know I didn't.
Well,
But
yeah, emotionally, how did you cause
Emotionally, I was told over and over that I killed my brother's and sister's mother.
it? Oh, okay. Told by who?
I have 8 brothers and sisters, and
Well, they
5
all-
of them
Oh, okay.
were
Well, that's a
before me.
that's a great thing to live with, grow up with.
Yeah.
It's what you call great affirmations and,
It's really
and,
wonderful.
positive thinking and everything, right?
Yeah.
Little levity,
And then a father who was supposed to protect you, who did everything from rape to physical violence to mental abuse, and a stepmother who hated you because you looked like another sister who didn't save her daughter from drowning. And
Which
physical
logically
beating.
is garbage, but
So
emotionally
it's
gets to you.
like there was nobody there from a little person. And though I'm a survivor and I function well in most cases, as I'm getting better, I just kind of really hate the fact that you can't capture that back.
Okay. All right. We're going to deal with that in just a second, but I want to make a point here, if I may, okay? Are you all right?
Oh yeah,
Okay.
I spent a lot of money to learn how to cry.
Okay. All right. I understand. I understand. I understand. I understand. Okay. Nice to know. He's a comedian, too, right?
No, I used to just get violent.
Okay. One of the things that she said, well, I thought it was fascinating, I didn't even realize this, but it happens now and then. We dealt with one incident of rape, the first one, and that has apparently not all the other incidences that covered that one tree chopped down the rest. That's generalization in its grandest form. Okay. Now that doesn't mean if I sat you down and we started to talk about some of the details about some of them, we might not uncover a bush here and there and it's worth working with. But it's interesting that the general idea of having had all those experiences over all that time, dealing with one of them with EFT, the rest of them have basically gone. Am I saying it right?
Yes, and I could offer some reasons to you if you'd like my perception of it.
Sure.
when you're that young, and I'm not saying that this, certainly I am not a single person that experiences this, male and female, but when you're that young to somebody that you looked up to for strength and protection and wisdom, after that time, I was dead.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't really feel the rest of them.
Mm-hmm.
It was an inconvenience,
Mm-hmm.
but I never felt anything other than hate and anger.
Mm-hmm.
But the act itself was just a mechanical thing.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
There were no feelings connected to it.
All right. What I would like to do now is to address one tree. We do one tree at a time. And the tree that I'm thinking of doing, but it's going to be your tree, so it's going to be your choice because you're in charge. I'm just your guide, okay?
Mm-hmm.
The tree I'm thinking of is the incident, the feeling of feeling abandoned
Mm-hmm.
when your mother died. And then from there we can go to the tree that says the guilt tree because it's your fault because your brothers and sisters told you so. Or would you rather, you think it's better to do a different tree?
I'd rather just deal with the word abandonment and not have to look at, as a 57-year-old adult that I'm still feeling like a kid in that issue. I'd like to get rid of that issue
Okay. Now,
because I get very angry.
yeah, okay, we will do what you want to do. We will talk about abandonment, which is basically talking about a forest all in one chunk. That's what we're doing, okay? And what we'll probably do is, this is my guess, in my experience, we'll probably take the edge off of it, so it won't be as big a deal for you. But we'll probably eventually have to work with some of the individual trees. Probably.
Yeah.
But that's a guess on mine. So I sometimes get surprised. We could do one round with abandonment and you whistle out of here and, I don't know, okay? Well, let's do this, okay? On a scale of 0 to 10, how intense does it... Say this. I was abandoned by my mother. I was abandoned. Say, I was abandoned.
I was abandoned.
On a scale of 0 to 10, what does that do?
I'm probably about a 5 with that now. The hard part was to even get it out.
Okay, it's a 5 at the moment. Okay, even though I was abandoned,
Even though I was abandoned.
I deeply and completely accept myself.
I deeply and completely accept myself.
Even though I was abandoned,
Even though I was abandoned, I
Deep-
deeply and completely accept myself. Even though I was abandoned, I deeply and completely accept myself.
okay, abandoned, go all the way down.
Abandoned,
Side of the eye,
abandoned,
under the eye.
abandoned, 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 abandoned.
Okay, we'll just take a little reading for the moment. Say, I was abandoned.
I was abandoned.
Okay. On a scale of 0 to 5, or 0 to 10, or is it still a 5 is the way to say it?
Probably a 3 or 4.
A 3 or 4. Okay, well let's do the gamut. Nine gamut. Close your eyes. Open. Hard down right. Hard down left. In a circle. Here, follow my finger. Okay. Other direction. Happy birthday. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Happy birthday. Okay, abandon. Eyebrow. Abandon.
Abandoned,
Abandon.
abandoned,
Under your eye, abandon.
abandoned,
Under your nose.
abandoned, abandoned, abandoned.
I'm going to do it from your abandon.
Oh, thank you.
Say abandon.
Abandoned.
Okay. Say, I was abandoned. Say it.
Was.
Okay.
I was abandoned.
Okay. Number?
I'm okay with it.
All right. Now, I'm going to say it a little differently, okay? Say, my mother didn't love me and I don't count. Okay. Well, this is called testing it, okay? All right. Okay. You got up like that even though you didn't have to say it. Okay.
Yeah.
Was it my mother didn't love me or I don't count? Which one got to you? Or both?
Probably the love.
Okay. Even though my mother didn't love me,
Even though my mother didn't love
I
me.
deeply and completely accept myself.
Deeply and completely accept myself.
Again.
Even though my mother didn't love me, I deeply and completely accept myself. I need to stop for a moment. I'm confusing myself because when I think of the word love with mother, it's not my mother. It's my stepmother.
Okay. Well, you want to say stepmother then?
Just mom, I think. Because
Mom, okay, even though
I'm
mom didn't-
flashing on my mother, and then I'm looking on my stepmother.
Okay, because your mother died at an early age.
Yeah,
Early to
very
you.
early age.
Yeah, okay. So even though mom didn't love me, that's what you call your stepmother?
She didn't.
Okay,
She absolutely
okay.
didn't.
And that causes the intensity?
I think it's just feeling not ever. It's the love goes with the safe, with the. Yeah, feeling not loved, I guess, or
Okay.
protected. I don't
so
know
you've got
which.
lots of word for it. You're not safe,
Yeah.
you're abandoned,
Right.
you're not loved,
Right.
you don't count. That was my word, but
Right.
it got to you. Okay, all of that. So there's a whole bunch of things that come in. There are different words for the same kind of general thing.
Same
this
thing.
Is, this is a forest, okay? But we're trying to come from the top down and try to defoliate a few trees, you know. But we're going to need to come into eventually, and we won't do it here because we don't have the time to do it, but you're going to need to learn how to do this eventually with your own stuff. You and I are going to, we've already agreed to work together. This time together.
How about if we work, even though I feel alone,
Okay,
that would sum it all up.
all right. Say, I feel alone.
I feel alone.
I'm all by myself.
I'm all by
What
myself.
does that do?
It's sad.
Number.
7, 8.
Even though I'm all alone here. Even though I'm all alone,
Even though I'm all
I
alone,
deeply and completely accept myself.
I deeply and completely accept myself.
Again.
Even though I'm all alone, I deeply and completely accept myself.
Mhm.
Even though I'm all alone, I deeply and completely accept myself.
All alone.
All alone,
Keep going.
all alone, all alone, all alone, all alone, all alone, all alone.
Okay. Are you still? What was the number? 7? You still a 7? Say
No, I'm not.
Say I'm all alone.
I'm all alone.
What number?
4.
Okay. Look at me. Close your eyes. Open. Hard down right. Hard down left. In a circle. Other way. Happy birthday. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Happy birthday. All alone.
All alone,
All alone.
all alone,
Keep going.
all alone, all alone, all alone, all alone, all alone.
Okay. Say I'm all alone.
I'm all alone.
Give me a number for that.
3 or 4.
Oh, it went up now.
I don't think so. 3 or 4.
Did I miss? What numbers did you hear that went to? Because I heard so many numbers. I'm
I think I was up to a 7.
7, then down to a something, and then 3 or 4. Oh, it was a 4, then a 3 or 4. That's what it was. It was a 7 to a 4 to a 3 or 4. Remember that right? Okay. So we didn't make too much headway this last round. Are you shifting in your own mind to what all alone means? Are you getting up different scenes?
No.
You're not. Do you have a specific scene involved, or is it just a general thing all alone?
Actually, I'm looking at a young kid.
Being you?
Yeah,
Okay. Who's all alone?
right.
And as you say that, say she's all alone.
She's all alone.
That's me, and I'm all alone.
That's me, and I'm all alone.
Okay. What number do you get for that?
3.
Okay. Good. All right. Even though I still have some of this all alone problem,
Even though I still have some of this all
I
alone
deeply and
problem,
completely accept myself.
I deeply and completely accept myself.
Again.
Even though I still have this all alone problem, I deeply and completely accept
Even
myself.
though I still have some of this
Even though I still have some of this
all alone problem.
all alone problem, I deeply and completely accept myself.
Okay. Remaining all alone problem.
Remaining all alone problem. Remaining all alone problem. Remaining all alone problem. Remaining all alone problem. Remaining all alone problem. Remaining all alone problem.
Okay. Still a 3 or 4. Say that little girl is me, and I'm all alone.
That little girl is me, and I'm all alone.
Say that little girl is me. That little girl is me, and I am all alone. No, that little girl is all alone, and that is me.
That little girl is all alone, and that's me.
Okay. On a scale of 0 to 10, how intense is it?
Maybe a 2.
Maybe a 2. All right, let's tap the gamut spot, okay? We're going to do a floor-to-ceiling eye roll. We do a floor-to-ceiling eye roll, we have very little left. Typically, it might save us, having to do a whole round, okay? Eyes to the floor. And then gradually over 6 seconds, let's raise them up. And I'll just remind you that you're all alone. That little girl is you. She's all alone, so are you. Okay? All right, stop a second. Picture that little girl. How old is she?
8.
She's 8 years old. And say she's all alone, and that's me.
She's all alone, and that's me.
Okay. How's that feel?
It's okay.
Is it a 0?
I think so.
Okay. Now we're going to take a break here in a second, but I'm going to do one more little test anyway, okay?
Uh-huh.
All right. Say that little girl is all alone, and that's me, and nobody loves her.
That little girl is all alone, and that's me, and nobody loves her.
Okay. What number did you get to?
I went up a little, but not much.
Okay.
Maybe
We're going
one.
to take a little break. I want to do a little bit more. It's a break if we can. So what happened?
I used to have stage fright.
Do you have it right now?
No.
You sure?
Yeah, I'm positive.
Okay.
Oh, this was really great. I'm just learning to do this on myself, and I went to dinner with a friend last night, and she wasn't listening to me, and when you're excited and you want to share something that's wonderful, I was really getting irritated because I didn't have her attention. So I said, Mary, what is wrong with you? She said, I have an incredible headache, Veronica. I'm sorry, I really am interested. I don't believe in this BS, but I'll listen to you because you like it. I said, no, I don't like it at all, but it works. And so she's going on and on with this headache, and pretty soon her face is all scrunched up, and she's doing this and that. And I said, I know we're in a nice restaurant. I really don't care, because most of the time, people are not that interested in each other in a restaurant. They're not going to even know what we're doing. Let me try it. She said, try what? I said, well, the tapping. And I said, and don't laugh. Just let me do it, and you say what I say. So I'm thinking, how did Gary do that? So I started, and I did it. It went from like an 8 or 9 to, she said, a 5. And then I said, okay, let me do it again. She said, this is ridiculous. And she's looking all around. I said, look at all these people. And I stood up, actually, and I said, are any of you people looking at us? And this one guy turned around and he says, no, but would you like me to?
Thanks for picking up, Veronica.
I said, no. So anyway, I did it again. I better hurry up here. I did it again, and her face relaxed. It really did, physically relaxed. And so I went on talking, and I said, how are you feeling? She said, well, what do you mean? I said, well, how's your headache? She said, you son of a bitch, it's gone. I said, so you don't believe? You don't have to believe. He told me you don't have to believe. Chronic pain in her neck and down her shoulder. I mean, she's on disability for this thing. And she kept doing this, and it was irritating me. So we proceeded to go to a bar. And we had part of a glass of wine, and I said, let me try this for your pain in your neck and your shoulder. And I sounded like him. Oh, you do? That's how So anyway, I did it. She said, it's not going to work, Veronica, because we've had some drinks. I said, well, I don't have a pain in my neck and shoulder, but I don't think it matters. I don't really know, but I'm going to try it if you let me.
Well, she had been drinking, and yet she still had the pain.
She had the pain.
Okay. All right.
I mean, she had the pain to the point where she was just constantly doing this. And then she looked at me and very profoundly said, I have had this pain a long time, Veronica. I'm on disability. I said, well, obviously it hurts you a lot, so let me try. What do you have to lose besides a little bit of discomfort? So I did it, and I did the 0 to 10, and I said, how do you feel? Well, I don't know. I said, guess. So, anyway, it got to a 5 after about 3 times. And she looked at this, and the next thing she asked me, I said, and by the way, these guys are playing liar's dice, nobody's looking at us, even though we're both attractive women, they don't care. So let's just do it again. And she got down to a 3, and before we went to bed, she said, how did you say you do that tapping again? So I went through the whole thing with her, and she said, now don't tell me how to do it. And she did it herself. So it's pretty amazing. I mean, I don't know what I'm doing with it yet. It worked.
Yeah. I want to ask you, you also said to me, before you told me those stories this morning, you told me that you felt lighter or something like that
Oh, I feel like a feather.
after yesterday's session.
I do. I feel wonderful.
Do this. I'm a great one to keep testing all the time.
Oh, I
think.
know.
Okay, as you know. I want you to try, I want to have you say something. I want you to notice if there's any emotional intensity.
Okay.
See, that little girl there is me. She's all alone.
That little girl there is me, and she's all alone.
Now, did you get any intensity on that?
No,
At a 0?
I had none.
None. Okay. All right, good. All right. Anything else you want to...
You know what I did with her?
What?
I hugged her.
Oh, you did? Okay, God bless you. Does anybody here have anything they'd like to work on? Sandia? Come on up. I don't even know what it is, but come up and sit in this chair and put on a microphone and we'll see what we can do.
Well, it's one among many, but one of them is feeling a lot of pain about my father being a Holocaust survivor. And
Your father is a Holocaust survivor. Is he
Was.
living now?
No.
Was. He? Okay.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
so, but it's not so much grief about his death. I mean, that's pretty much, I think, it's a separate issue, but I think it's not that big. But still, I have left a lot of pain about him being a Holocaust survivor.
The pain is images you have. Did you see him in certain circumstances?
No. I mean, I wasn't alive at the time.
Okay. Well, I don't know where the pain comes from. Is it a memory of some kind? Is it just a thought?
It's a thought.
It's a thought. And what does a thought look like? I mean, paint it for me, can you? We're trying to identify the problem, by the way. Okay. Yes.
It's just a thought about him being there, being in this tremendous, in camps, concentration camps, and suffering at a very young age.
Do you know what he suffered from, or what suffering he did?
Specifically?
Yeah. Do you know?
Yeah.
You do know.
It's to some degree.
Okay. How did you know that? Somebody just suddenly told you?
No,
he
he
told you.
Yeah.
Oh, he told you. Oh, okay. So he told you a lot of stories?
Not a lot of, not very little actually.
Okay.
But it's a kind of a common phenomenon that children of survivors take on that pain. You know?
Okay. As you speak about it now, on a scale of 0 to 10, where are you emotionally?
Well, if I really tune into it, it's a 10.
But you're not really tuning into it.
Oh, I can.
Well, okay. All right. But I don't want you to remember as little pain as possible?
Yes.
I'll take your word for it that you could be a 10 if you wanted to do so.
Yes.
Now, but I want to check something out with you because later on I want to test how well we do.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so we want to be able to test it. And the way I think I might want to test it, but I want you to tell me if this is a feasible way to test it, is once we're all done and you have, hopefully, emotional freedom on this issue, that you'll be able to tell me in detail what happened and do what you would normally do to get yourself to it. What would you normally do to get yourself to a 10? Would you tell it in detail?
Mostly I just think about it.
Oh, okay. So what I might do at the end of this is to ask you to close your eyes and think about it in great detail. I may ask you to talk about it great detail. That's also forcing you to think about it.
Okay. Sure.
But I'm only going to do that at the end if you feel comfortable with that. Because who takes responsibility for your emotional well-being? See, I don't know what's going on within you. I'm your guide. You're in charge.
Right.
Okay? So on a scale of 0 to 10, as we were talking about it, without getting into the 10 level, what level were you?
10.
Now?
Yeah.
Well, you are 10 right now. Oh, okay. All right. We're going to call this my father's what?
Holocaust experience.
My father's Holocaust. Even though I have this, my father's Holocaust experience, that'll do it.
or not to say pain, or just to say Holocaust?
Even though I have this Holocaust pain,
Okay.
because you know what that means.
Right.
Okay. Even though I have this Holocaust pain,
Even though I have this Holocaust pain,
I deeply and completely.
I
accept it.
deeply and completely accept myself. Even though I have this Holocaust pain, I deeply and completely accept myself. Even though I have this Holocaust pain, I deeply and completely accept myself.
Okay. Holocaust pain.
Holocaust pain,
Holocaust pain.
Holocaust pain, Holocaust pain, Holocaust pain, Holocaust pain, Holocaust pain.
Okay. Stop right there. That's good enough. Okay. Are you still a 10?
No, 5 or 6, I think.
A 5 or 6. All right. Okay. Close your eyes. Open. Hard down right. Left. In a circle. Other way. Happy birthday. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Okay. Holocaust pain.
Holocaust pain.
Out of your eye. Holocaust pain.
Holocaust pain.
Keep going.
Holocaust pain. Holocaust pain. Holocaust pain. Holocaust pain. Holocaust pain.
Okay. You were 5. You were 10 to was it a 5 was the number?
5 to 6.
5 or 6. Okay. Are you still a 5 or 6?
It's hard to say. I think not. I think it's lower.
Okay. Well, I know you can't be absolutely accurate,
So-
but this is not a really
so-
accurate thing. It's
right,
a guideline.
so
Okay. So give me your
they
best
say-
guess at what number you might be.
Maybe 2.
Maybe a 2. Okay.
Maybe not even, but
Okay. Well,
I would need
all right,
to-
well, I'm going to
but-
try something here. I'm going to completely ignore the setup part of this next part. Maybe she's reversed, maybe she isn't. I don't know. But we're going to completely ignore it anyway. I just want you to go say remaining Holocaust pain.
the remaining Holocaust pain. The remaining Holocaust pain. The remaining Holocaust pain. The remaining Holocaust pain. The remaining Holocaust pain. The remaining Holocaust pain.
Okay, now I want to ask you a question. It's something I probably should have asked you ahead of time just for teaching purposes. When you said you were a 10
Yes.
before we started doing this, how did you know that? Was the heart pounding? Were you feeling flush? What?
No, I was just close to tears.
Close to tears.
Mhm.
Okay. Are you close to tears now?
No.
Okay. You want to give estimate a number as to your current emotional intensity about the Holocaust pain?
Wow, it's really hard to say.
All right. Do this for me. Close your eyes. And I want you to take responsibility now for your own emotional well-being. But what I want you to do is I want you to remember any vivid scene you can where your father was telling you, and I want you to exaggerate it. I want you to make the sounds and the sights or whatever there is exaggerated. Try to make it more intense. I want you to literally try to get yourself intense up to some number, and then let me know how you do.
Maybe a 2.
Maybe a 2. All right, let's just do the floor to ceiling eye roll. Okay. Eyes straight. Okay, look down at the floor. Gradually raise them up to the ceiling. Okay, let me stop there a second. This time, instead of trying to exaggerate everything else, why don't you tell me about it?
Okay, so my father was in the Holocaust, and it was a very painful experience, and it became kind of like, without words, I inherited it, and I've been carrying it.
What did he say to you? Be specific about something he said to you that told you about it, that made you carry the pain. I mean, he related what happened somehow. Some story, some event, some painful thing.
It's mostly in what he didn't say, because he spoke very little about it. I have some specifics of him being in a camp and, you know, being shot at and, running, jumping from a train,
Was there torture that you know about?
um,
How do you feel when I said that?
zero.
Okay, go ahead.
I think the aspect that gets me, it's another aspect.
Okay, all right.
The aspect that gets me the most is to think that he was 17 or 15 when he lost all his family, his parents, his brother,
Okay.
most of his family.
Thank you, and you picked it up yourself. See, what I'm trying to do is to get her intense about this issue that she was intense about. I had 10, was near tears. We did the tapping on it. You've gotten a degree of emotional freedom from that specific thing, and now you've shifted off to the fact that he was now 15 or 17 and missed some family things and so on and so forth. Different issue, isn't it? That's
Yes.
that's not Holocaust, is it? That's not Holocaust pain, or is it? Is it Holocaust pain?
Naturally, it is.
Oh, it is. Oh, okay, okay.
I mean, that's how he lost his family
Mhm.
in the Holocaust.
Oh, okay. Would we call it a sub-aspect of some kind?
Yeah. I
Okay,
guess.
well, as you think about that, the fact that he was 15 to 17 and lost his family, etc., on a scale of 0 to 10, what does that do to you emotionally?
When I spoke about it, it was 9.
Oh, it was a 9?
Yeah.
Okay, another aspect. Okay. What do we want to call that? My
Um,
father lost it, even though my father lost his family.
even though my father lost his family,
I deeply...
I deeply,
I don't even want to do that. I want to try to do this without that. Okay, my father lost his family.
my father
father
lost his family. My father lost his
Under your
family.
eye.
My father lost his family. 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 My father lost his family.
Okay, stop there a second. Somebody, look at me and say, my father lost his family.
My father lost
at
his
age 15
family
to
at the
17.
age of
Is it a
15.
9?
No.
What number is it?
Maybe a 2.
Maybe a 2. Now, from a teaching point of view, I did not have her do the psychological reversal. At least I stopped her short of it, okay? You don't always have to do it. I just guessed it wasn't there, that's all. It's a shorthand way of doing it. Sometimes you can just not even, figure's not there. If they make headway without doing the setup, they make headway, reversal's not there. Okay? Now, we're down to a 2. Reversal to go any farther still may or may not be there, but I'm going to assume it's not, just for teaching purposes and for speed purposes. See? Remaining, what was the phrase we were using?
Remaining, my father lost.
Remaining father lost his family.
Remaining father lost his family. Remaining father lost his family. Remaining father lost his family. Remaining father lost his family. Remaining father lost his family. Remaining father lost his family. Remaining father lost his family.
Okay. I understand, between age 15 and 17, in the Holocaust, your father, how did he lost his whole family?
Yes.
Did they all
except
die?
one brother.
Did they
Yeah,
die?
they're all were taken away and to different camps and murdered. And
How do you feel when you say that?
I was feeling fine until I said murdered.
Okay. And what was the number?
4.
A 4. Okay.
But I am aware it's another
Okay.
aspect. And
Murdered.
murdered,
Murdered.
murdered,
Under your eye, murdered.
murdered,
Murdered.
murdered,
Good again.
murdered, murdered, murdered.
Okay. Stop right there. Murdered?
I murdered.
Who was murdered?
My father's family.
Can you say my father's
Phil.
family was murdered by...
My father's family was murdered in the war.
Okay, is that a 4? More or less?
It's a 4.
It's still a 4?
Yeah.
So it didn't change at all?
Right.
Aha! What do I suspect? Suspicion. The setup. Okay, she was reversed, I guess, getting any better still on that. Okay, so, even though I still have...
Even though I still have
Even this murder problem.
even though I still have some of this murder problem, I deeply and completely accept myself. Even though I still have some of this murder problem, I deeply and completely accept myself. Even though I still have some of this murder problem, I deeply and completely accept myself.
Okay. Family murdered.
Family murdered. Family murdered. Family murdered. Family murdered. Family murdered. Family murdered. Family murdered.
Okay. My father's family
My,
was murdered by Hitler?
yes.
Say it.
My father's family was murdered by Hitler when he was 15.
Okay. Is that a 4?
That's a 0 for now.
That's a 0. Okay. You may have other aspects on that.
Right.
But
I mean, I'm aware just as I finish one and it kind of clears out of the way, something else
Yeah.
pops up, and then when that clears away, something else
yeah,
pops up.
and that's what happens. It happens over and over again, so you've illustrated that beautifully. Do you feel in that issue like you've had some emotional freedom?
Yes.
Okay. There's a lot of other issues going on, too.
Right.
But see how fast that took it, and how simple that was, really? Just simple tapping and tuning into it and doing that, and there you are.
Right.
Okay. So we may not be complete on this one. You may have more to do. You have other trees in a similar forest, and you can just keep doing them every day, and after a while, let me ask you out here, when we've taken care of all these trees in the forest, what is likely to happen to a self-image? Yeah, elevate. Likely to happen. Subtly, by the way, it will not be, oh my God, my self-image is better. It was terrible yesterday and today it's marvelous. No, it'll happen just so gradually you won't even know it. Okay. Do we have a hand for Sandy up there? I want you to say something for me. Say, my father's family was murdered.
My father's family was murdered.
And what kind of emotional intensity do you have about that?
0.
0. Okay, good. Just checking. That, by the way, that's a way of testing. We do that every once in a while. See, she was up here, and we did all this, etc., and now some time has gone by. Her mind has gone off someplace else. She's been on other things, etc. Some people call this distraction, but see, if it was just distraction, if we just distracted her, she couldn't do it, she would not have that response here some 15, 20, 30, whatever minutes later that it is, right? Okay. And you'll probably be the same way tomorrow and the next day and so on and so forth.